here we are on Daybreak, and in the upper right-hand corner of the map, we have our pink Zerg player from the team compLexity. It is Sasquatch. And his opponent here in the bottom left-hand corner, our red Zerg player from FXO EU, it's Slavic.
So Slavic's going to have his work cut out for him because Sasquatch looks on point today. I mean, everything from that first game against Minato, I just can't believe he won that.
Yeah. You mentioned before that he just won his worst matchup, as he calls it too.
Yeah,
so.
and it wasn't even like he cheesed and won through like a Roach Baneling or something like.
Yeah, he had a Roach attack, delayed, picked up the Banshee with Spire, delayed, and then just kind of started his opponent out.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
It was. So now he's back in his comfort zone here against the Zerg. As we were saying, FXO. Yeah, they don't have any other Terrans to throw at him, so it's just going to be Z and P, and here is Slavic on Daybreak going up against Sasquatch, who looked really good in the macro game.
Yeah,
he did. I mean, he looked a little weak in the early game, I would say, because Minato kind of had him up against the ropes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But Daybreak, I mean, Sasquatch looked really, really good with his Mutalisk play, and this is a great Muta map. What are your thoughts here? I mean, I'm surprised by this Daybreak pick, to be honest, because Endgame and Muta seem to be where Sasquatch shines in ZVZ. I mean, just looking at that one game, but
maybe that's where Slavic's strengths lie too, and I mean, that's what he's thinking about at this stage of the game. So,
oh, you can lift 110 pounds. I can lift 120.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it amounts to.
No.
Or who knows even how much Sasquatch knows, or I'm sorry, Slavic knows about his opponent right here, or what sort of a pick that this was intended to be. But in any case, we'll see what Sasquatch does from here on out. He decided to go for pool before gas, or pool before hatch, I should say. Going to follow that up with gas here in just a bit. Slavic, on the other hand, 15 hatch into, what was that, 16 gas, 17 pool. So about as late as a pool gets, but he'll have a really nice economy to back that up.
Yeah, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. The gas definitely a lot faster than Sasquatch's, as you pointed out, whose is just now going down as his queen starts, which is so common. And actually, I think we see it. It's always like exactly when the Overlord pops. It just seems to be this thing. Right when the Overlord pops, it's kind of like an audio cue, like, get my gas.
Well, let's see here now as Slavic bringing in his gas income quite a bit. Looks like gas just now being started for Sasquatch. So we'll see, if the difference in Zergling speed is going to make a difference here in this game, it's going to be about, I don't know, 30 seconds ahead, something like that for Slavic. So he should be able to sneak in, do a little bit of damage with his speedlings, pick off a couple of drones without taking too much in the way of losses. Yeah,
and Sasquatch, his hatchery just finished up. He's got his queens in position. Did he drop a? Did he drop a tumor?
Let's see here. I don't think so.
Oh, that can't. No. Okay, the queen walked down from the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't open a hatch first. Yeah. So, all right. Talking a bit about Daybreak. We mentioned Mutalisk play earlier. I feel like when I started casting with you, Kevin, I remember we saw like a billion ZVZs for some reason on Daybreak.
Yeah.
And there was always the thing that came to mind. Or I guess topic of conversation. You always mention Mutas on Daybreak.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I always mention it because I enjoy watching them. I think it makes for a very fun matchup, a little bit more dynamic, because then there's always the question of when do you transition in tag, how do you position your Zerglings, do you play the defensive route, do you go for +1 Carapace? There are just so many more question marks when it comes to that than it seems like any other possibilities in this matchup. Yes, when you go for Roach Infestor, you know you're going to get +1 upgrades, you know you're going to get certain things at certain times. There's not a ton of variation. Most of the variation is, of course, in how many Infestors you get versus when you start your overall Roach count. But in Mutas, there's just so much more that's kind of undecided, I suppose.
And do you specifically like Mutas in ZVZ or in all the matchups? Because if it's all of them, you'll like Sasquatch is a Mutalisk player. He may as well be called compLexity Mutalisk. Like.
Well, I do like Mutalisks in most matchups. I really still enjoy it against Protoss players. It's very frustrating sometimes to kind of watch that 40-minute game as a Protoss player is slowly starved out and can't quite turn the tide with Templar. But in ZVZ especially is where I like it. That's where it really shines for me.
Well, gas is completing down here, so we may be seeing that out of Slavic as well. We'll have to see what he decides to do with these, but he is on all four now. And we've got some Banelings coming in here for Sasquatch, a little bit of aggression.
All right, and okay, 2 Banelings take out 2 Banelings and a bunch of Zerglings, so a decent little trade there for Slavic, and 2 Banelings and a Zergling going down there.
Larva.
Yeah.
A huge factor there. Sasquatch with a lot of reinforcing lings, actually. He's got even more on the way right now. He's going to be able to kill this queen. If he can slip into the main, this could end it.
Okay, well, he's doing pretty well right now. He's still got the Spine Crawler to contend with. He's got to run all the way around, and he does.
There's only 4 links, Kev. This might be over. I mean, Slavic needs to, like, he's going to lose so much mining time right now.
Look at what he just did. He actually just put his drone around the side and put it on hold position so that the Banelings would have a better chance of morphing in. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't look like it's going to work as much. Banelings now rolling in for Sasquatch too, and boom! Kills a lot of drones. 26 drones to 37 overall. Now Sasquatch has gotten himself a huge lead in this game.
He does. It's massive, and he's got the 200 gas if he wants to drop down a Spire now. He's in a great position. And wow, I mean, behind this, can we actually, workers are 43 to 29 workers lost throughout that combat, 13 to 0.
Yeah, Sasquatch is in a great spot now. I mean, it's just an unbelievable spot because his opponent decided to go super quick into layer and 4 gas, considerably earlier even than Sasquatch did. So his options at a moment when he needs all the economy he can to take advantage of that layer are incredibly limited. Look at this, and Sasquatch is playing this so well. Knows that he's not going to take a ton of pressure on this base, so he drops down a hatchery at the bottom right-hand corner, at the same time saving up all of his money.
Yeah, 34 to 48 with the Spires going down at the same time. Slavic is going to have no minerals at all. He cannot afford to drop a 3rd base. He can't afford to make Zerglings to counter this 3rd. Like, he just made a couple. Sasquatch is going to this is laughable right now. And it not, you know, it's Slavic, he's got no economy behind this.
All right, so Sasquatch, like we said, he's gained himself that advantage. Now, what can he do with it? His Spire is exactly 35 seconds ahead of his opponents. Looks like a Baneling actually taking out all the Zerglings there for Slavic, and Sasquatch again pushing ahead, and this is exactly the moment that Slavic doesn't want to make units. Sasquatch doesn't even have to move in. He just has to sit here. He just has to convince his opponent, you need to make a bunch of drones right now, but you can't, because if you do, I'm going to swing in and I'm going to kill everything.
He doesn't want to make anything right now. He wants to save for this Spire because it's about to finish, and the reality is that he has 11 supply, so he can only make 5 mutas, Kevin, even though he has money for like 10. He has enough gas to make 9 mutas here in a second, and he can make 3. There they are. There are the 3 Mutalisks. This is so... Oh, man. Sasquatch is really impressing me right now.
+1 Carapace coming up for Sasquatch 2. He's morphing in some defensive Banelings. His next hatchery is done. Is he getting on any more drones? It looks like he's content with his 48 for now. Although, certainly, I think we're going to have another round of about 8 to 10 here built in a second.
So, what can Slavic do from here? He's doing one thing perfectly right, and that is making nothing but Mutalisks. Because he cannot fall behind on the muta count. If he gets too behind, his mutas will just be useless. Sasquatch will have control of everything. And, well, then his diabolical plans will be unleashed.
Ooh, and here's the worst part, too, is that Slavic was already supply block going into that. He was 75 out of 76. And now he's forced to make Overlords when he doesn't have any minerals.
He's still got a lot out on the map, too. Sasquatch gonna... That thing died before a muta hit it.
Yeah, basically.
It was like, I surrender. I surrender.
I'm out here, guys. Yeah, and +1 Carapace is going to finish 50 seconds ahead of his opponent. So there's really nice timing in there that's built in that Sasquatch can continue to do more damage.
This is rough for Slavic. He, wants to keep making mutas right now, but he doesn't have the minerals to because he has to keep making Overlords. Meanwhile, he's trying to drop a 3rd base. I think an Infestor switch might be his best call here, and just hope for a lucky fungal. You know? Maybe go for Burrow, or try to, even better, try to hide an Infestor behind like an Overlord or something. And
oh, it looks like Sasquatch knows he can't engage this quite yet. His +1 Carapace is not done. He's actually at a vastly inferior muta count right there. It was 13 to 9, 10, I believe. It wasn't all that much. Sasquatch finally joining up with more, but now it's 15 to 11. So Slavic actually does have the better count there. But the Zergling Runbys are what does damage in muta versus muta.
Yeah, and he just actually equalized it. 5 spawned up, so 15 to 15 now. These guys are, well, there's actually an engagement up towards the middle. Muta's duking it out, but hey, who has the advantage here, Kevin? You've mentioned it many times before.
You keep Zerglings underneath to absorb shots from the Glaveworms, and even though there was an inferior muta count that was brought into this, Sasquatch is going to win the engagement. He had +1 Carapace, he can swing in and do the rest of the damage that he needs, and his opponent is in the retreat.
Really exciting to see that in action. You've been talking about it. I mean, I've been here for 2 months now.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it once, but there it was.
Yes. The fun part of it. Infestor Switch is already popping in now for Sasquatch, and he's following this up pretty convincingly.
Well, he has minerals.
Yeah, running Ring Around the Rosie right now. And he can do whatever he wants. If he kills this base, I mean, good on Slavic for staying in this game, not trying to give up too early, making sure that he uses, you know, everything at his disposal to try and win this. But Sasquatch is at an enormous advantage.
Yeah, 3 bases very comfortably. Taunting his opponent with Zerglings. I have something you don't have.
And looks like he's just going to decide to engage this straight up. So Mutalisk versus Mutalisks once again. And Sasquatch may... No, he doesn't have enough there, especially with the reinforcements that are popping up.
He does have to fall back, but honestly, trading the Mutas is not a bad idea because behind it, he knows he can make more. And so the less Mutas his opponent has, like let's say Sasquatch was halfway across the map and 15 Mutas arrived in his main, and all of a sudden he starts losing tons of drones. He's going to lose a lot really fast before he can get his Mutas home. But if both of them are kind of sitting at like 4 or 5 Mutas, even though that was not an equitable trade for Sasquatch, now, if the Mutas swing into his base while he's caught out of position, he's not going to lose that much that fast.
All right, so the Infestors are done. The Roach Warren is on the way. This is a lot of Infestors. Sasquatch going to push out across the map one more time. Still has a lot of Zerglings to try and back this up. In fact, just has a really well-developed ground army. Finally getting +1 Carapace. He's been a little slow to upgrades, I've noticed, pretty much every game because he's had the available resources to put that down, but hasn't decided to invest in it until just right now.
Nope, Slavic doing what he can. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness, Kevin.
That's devastating.
That's a ball of doom right there. Can we zoom in on that and just because it's gonna
this is all gonna blow. Boom.
Oh, that's awesome.
GG. Right after that, and compLexity Sasquatch has taken 3 games in a row now. He's actually just 2 games away from an all kill and giving his team the win.
He's playing really, really good. I mean, even that game, like. You said it perfectly. You're like, he doesn't even need to attack right now, and he didn't. But he forced out, what, 22 Zerglings?
Yeah, something like that.
When he didn't have the money for it. It was great.
All right.
But this guy...
Yeah, we got another Zerg player coming in next for FXO EU. It's going to be Lowly.
Hailing from Belarus. We'll see if he can do it here against Sasquatch and tie it up and knock out this player who right now is on a steamroll. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.